Hey Beans, and welcome to a new series that I've been thinking about starting for a while. A while ago I uploaded a video about things in Animal Jam that would be illegal in real life, and people really seemed to enjoy it, so I thought I'd extend that little bit of an idea and make it in something of a bigger series. So now I'm bringing you things in Animal Jam that would be creepy in real life. Remember that this is supposed to be more of a funny video, and not everything in this video might be actually creepy, but some of the things are definitely a little scary to imagine. Anyways, Beans, I hope you enjoy some things in Animal Jam that would be quite creepy in real life. Mutant Animals. It's pretty weird that you can just go around your clothing and mix your animal with other animals and just make it look ridiculous. You can even give it human hair. So could you imagine just walking up to a horse in real life that had goat horns or tinfoil antlers? I mean, it's scary enough to see a horse with like binoculars or something, but all of a sudden you see him with mammoth tusks, and it's a bit of a different story. Alden itself. Now, why in the world would Alden be scary? Well, first of all, you have these giant flash mobs of people that just appear out of nowhere, and a lot of greedy, hungry, elitist scammers. But mostly it's freaky because literally everyone is an Arctic wolf with a spiked collar. Could you imagine coming up to one of these Arctic wolves who has like a spiked collar on his neck, a huge spiked tail, and a glove that literally deals 35 damage in the adventures because it's so powerful, and just having him be mad at you for not accepting his trade? I think Alden and its giant masses of animals with spiked collars would be quite spooky in real life. And as cringy as they may be, they would be pretty freaky in real life. Those role players. I mean, could you imagine having a group of friends who every single day for hours on end would go into the middle of the woods and pretend to be like cats, Pokemon, fighting role player clan people? I mean, what? That's so weird. It's like this cult that just goes into the middle of the woods and pretends to be different animals. I feel like in real life, if you were to stumble on a bunch of people pretending to be cats and like mating with each other and fighting and like taking it way too seriously, you'd be a little freaked out. Am I wrong in saying that? Next up is Zeus's statue. I mean, Zeus is like a dead god, and they had this giant statue symbolizing his death. And the worst part is, if you sleep, phantoms come out. I mean, could you imagine if we had a tribute to a dead person, and then when you slept around it, phantoms or ghosts of that person came out? I mean, the phantoms captured Zeus, so it's kind of like his kidnappers are just coming out to taunt him in this giant statue with no explanation in the middle of a rainforest. So I think that this thing would be a little freaky if you stumbled upon it in real life. Next up is something that's creepy enough in Animal Jam itself, but would be even freakier in real life, and that is Spider Zapper. It's a game where these really creepy black widows crawl all over trees, and you have to throw stones at them. And you have to hit a certain number to win, but my question has always been, well, why do you lose if you don't hit a certain number? Are they coming back at you? I mean, I don't even want to think about that, but I think the sheer number of black widows in this giant rainforest covered with spider webs would be a little freaky to stumble upon in the wild, and just my opinion, you know? Also, I don't know if it's just me, but this flamingo that just kind of stands there in crystal sands. One time, oh wow, it moved. Okay, 2 times I've seen it move. Never other than that. It just moves, and then it stands in that new position, and then it slowly goes back. Yet it still has these ripples around it constantly. But it's just been there for years and years and years doing that exact same thing, and it doesn't even move. You can get right up next to it and it will not do anything. So I feel like if I was transported into the world of Animal Jam as a human and found this guy, I would be a little freaked out. I'm sure you're all familiar with those pet games. Well, the ducky one is fine, and Snake isn't too bad, but it's the game Snake itself that's a little weird. In Coral Canyons, when you're preparing to play the game Snake, there are these really creepy little mice, and there's a hole next to it, and occasionally little red eyes will pop out of the hole. That's a little much for me, even in Animal Jam. I mean, I'm honestly surprised they even put that in Animal Jam itself. To find this hole with these creepy red-eyed mice in real life would be a little freaky, especially knowing that what's in that hole is a snake with giant red eyes, prepared to eat those other mice. And well, if I was a rabbit here about to play Snake, I'd be a little freaked out if there was a snake in that hole ready to pounce on its prey. Next up has to be the good old pillow room. Now, what the heck is wrong with just an innocent little place full of pillows and vases? Well, it's what it has become. I guarantee you, if you were to walk into this room in real life and everyone wasn't an animal and was rather a human, you'd be a little scared. And I guarantee you that at any time, there is probably one 40-year-old male in here who's adopting kids and lives in his mom's basement, and it's really weird. Not to mention, it would be a little freaky if in real life you had 11-year-olds adopting 9-year-olds and taking care of them and having their entire life in their hands. So I just feel like the pillow room in real life, not only would it just be a terrible idea, but it'd be a place to meet some really, really creepy creeps. Now, I'm going to try and avoid just naming animals from the Journey book as much as possible, because there are plenty of very, very ugly animals in the Journey books, but there are a few very special ones that could not miss their name on this list. First up is, of course, this centipede in Crystal Sands. I've been freaked out enough by them because Wisteria Moon's house is absolutely filled with them, and every time she finds one, she sends me a Snapchat of one. And when I was there, I actually ran into like 3. And plus the animation at the end is a little freaky because it just like disappears into nowhere. It doesn't actually go behind Pet Watch, it just kind of goes into it. Ugh. It's not something that I like to think about, let's just put it that way. And of course, you guys know I am extremely paranoid of Deep Blue. I don't even have to go around and show you all the animals. Let's just take a look at the Journey book. Some of you may have never even completed this because, well, no one goes underwater. Ta-da! But there are just some really, really weird things in here. I mean, there's a giant squid, there's this oarfish, there's this gulper eel that is exceptionally creepy, there's a fangtooth, an anglerfish, and a giant isopod. I mean, that's not even mentioning a few other things on this list that are absolutely terrifying in Animal Jam alone, and of course would be even creepier in real life. I mean, honestly, down here, even this cute little pufferfish is deadly, and you already know it. This place just really gives me the creeps on Animal Jam, and if I were to go scuba diving and come down here, I would not want to stay for long, and I doubt many of you would, unless you're a little bit crazy. Next up is Wind Rider. Sky High itself is pretty scary because you have the potential to fall, but with Wind Rider, you are absolutely guaranteed to fall. You're basically going skydiving with your mortal enemies that if you touch them will zap you in the middle of the air, and you're going skydiving, okay? It's kind of like an intense moment where you really gotta be paying attention, and you're just going around and there are phantoms everywhere. You're literally skydiving with phantoms. Could you imagine doing that in real life? I feel like I'd be terrified enough of the skydiving in real life. Could you imagine doing it with phantoms that were literally trying to hurt you during your entire way down? Oh my, I'd prefer not to. Next up is the Mushroom Hut Den. I kind of get the idea behind this thing. It's that you're a little tiny animal and you can actually go inside of a mushroom, and it's meant for those teeny tiny pets and stuff. I mean, look at the grass in the background. It's obvious that you're just in a tiny mushroom. But when you think about it, well, you're a full-blown falcon. You can be an elephant in this game. So you could fit like 100 elephants inside of this mushroom, and then there's this giant grass in the background. So could you imagine how huge this giant mushroom must be to be an entire den that can fit 30 elephants and not even be close to being full? Plus, you can put in giant items into this thing, like couches and TVs and just everything you can think of. I feel like if I was to stumble upon this random mushroom in the middle of the forest, that'd be a little weird, especially considering there's so many mini mushrooms, and then there's even another mini mushroom house for your neighbor. As someone who does not particularly like mushrooms, I would be a little creeped out by this one. And of course, how could I make a list about the creepiest things in Animal Jam without talking about sleuths, or sloths, as most non-Wisteria Moon people like to call them. Everything they do, from the way they wear items, to the way they walk, to the way they do their animations, is just weird. Like, sloths are cute in real life. When I stayed in Costa Rica, there was one outside of our house the entire time. We called him Sid the Science Sloth, which was a mix of Sid the Science Kid and Sid the Sloth from Ice Age. But that is totally unrelated. Actually, it isn't, because he was a cute sloth, and I liked him a lot. And he was very slow, and we loved him, and he was awesome, and we took pictures of him, and we got to, okay, getting really off topic, but he was a cute sloth. He was a good sloth. Whereas in Animal Jam, the sloths are just really creepy. Everything they do is just really creepy. I don't know why Animal Jam chose to make them this way, but they just are. That's how they work all the time. And I feel like meeting a sloth like this in real life would be a little different than meeting Sid the Science Sloth in real life. Anyways, Beans, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying these videos, and if you are, please leave a like or leave a comment telling me so, and giving me maybe a few more adjectives you'd like to see me describe in the future. You know, maybe things in Animal Jam that would be worth millions of dollars in real life, or something like that. Well, I really hope I can continue this series with you, Beans, but remember, the only reason that I would continue a series is if I get your help and your support. So please take a little time and leave a comment with your opinion, or something you think I should do in the future. Anyways, Beans, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.